Have you convinced yourself you're too busy to chase your goals and achieve your dreams? We already know comparison is a thief of joy. Time doesn't wait for no one. That is a harsh truth I've had to come to terms with, that as I leave this earth, what do I leave behind? What will I be remembered for? In what ways have you betrayed yourself? Have ignored your own visions, your goals, your dreams? Sometimes we lack a true vision. We don't pursue with the energy, with the effort, with the time that we need to. We don't invest the time that we need to be able to accomplish that, simply because we don't have a full, complete picture or the full, complete vision. We are the best people positioned to serve the person we once were. Who are you meant to serve? Hello, hey friend, I am so happy you've decided to join me on a special episode of the Dreams, Money, Purpose podcast. If you don't know me, I am Norma, I'm your host, and just so that we can get to know each other, I am an entertainment presenter as well as a host and a podcaster too. So once in a while, I do these solo episodes where it's just me and you, friend. It's just you and me, chopping it up, talking, questioning our life's purpose, existence, but also just aiming to move forward into what we've been called to do. Typically, I interview other guests who are just incredible people who I admire, who have incredible stories to tell, and who we can both learn from. But on this episode, I have some questions for you, which may be a little bit provocative, but I'm sure you'll be able to handle them. I want to talk about those goals that you've let go. The goals that you had 2 years ago, even last year, that you've left. The goals that you've left behind. And one of the reasons I asked this is because I had to be honest with myself and recognize that there are goals, there are dreams that I had years ago that I just let them go, or I let them slip away. So I want to ask you, what are some of those goals? Well, what's the vision that you felt you were given, or the vision that you had, the purpose that you were pursuing that you've abandoned for one reason or another? And I know that, yes, life can be overwhelming. It can be stressful. There's a lot of things that we're dealing with. You know, some people have a 9 to 5, your parents, maybe you have a spouse, you have a 9 to 5 and a side hustle and other things that you're doing, and responsibilities that you have to take care of. However, I do believe that whilst we're in the thick of helping others, doing other things, focusing on other things, without knowing it, we let go of the dreams and the visions that we had. They were big, they were grand. They may have been life-changing. They would have shifted culture. They would have transformed technology and the way we live life. They would have helped us as cultures, as a people, as the whole world. Who knows what your idea and your vision could have done, but you've let it go. So I am here as a friend who is going to be your accountability partner. And I hope that you'll be mine too, because by, first of all, doing this podcast and doing this episode, I'm having to hold myself accountable to the things that I say, to the promises that I make to myself, and to the goals that I set. I've definitely been guilty of doing what I'm speaking of. I've been guilty of writing my goals, my dreams, of creating the vision board and not fulfilling it, of writing the goal for the year, and maybe I do half of it, and the other half I don't complete for one reason or another. So I wanted to ask you, have you let the fear and self-doubt overcome you and silence you into non-action? Have you let the voice of fear and doubt cripple you and even steal away your goals and your visions? I think one of the things with social media right now is we can be so overwhelmed with what we're seeing, and we're seeing other people live their best life, and so it seems. It seems like they're living in this incredible world that they've created, where everything is fun, it's glamorous, it's dinners, it's parties, it's flying out to different countries every other few months. It's, you know, they're hanging out with the cool people. And sometimes it seems as if other people are living what you would deem as your best life, or what you would envision as your best life. And it sucks because you have to see it. It's just there on your phone constantly. And I think that can sometimes If I'm being honest, I feel like the reason why there's so much depression that is on the rise, especially with young people and sometimes even young men, as we have seen on the stats, is partly to do with social media, partly to do with comparison. And we already know comparison is a thief of joy, number one. But number two is so unhealthy, the fact that you're consistently seeing other people's lives. I mean, decades ago, you wouldn't have known what Sally ate for dinner unless you went to visit her. But now you scroll on social media, you know that Sally ate at the Ivy. A couple of weeks ago, she was in St. Bart's on holiday. Then she bought the Gucci bags and she did XYZ. You know all about Sally's life and how incredible it is. And then you look at your own life and you're like, oh, damn, it's a bit... it ain't popping like Sally's life is popping. Like, my life is not popping like Jack's life or Tunde's life or whoever's life. And I bring that up to say, in what ways have you betrayed yourself? Have ignored your own visions, your goals, your dreams? And maybe you got comfortable, or maybe you've convinced yourself, oh, I'm too busy. Have you convinced yourself you're too busy to chase your goals and achieve your dreams? Or have you convinced yourself, I just don't have the money to do it? Or I just don't have the knowledge, but how do I begin the business? Where do I go to publish the book? But I just don't know. What if there isn't a market for the business that I want to create or do the research? I think there's so many of us who have these goals and visions and things that we want to do, we want to create, but we don't chase after it with all of our heart. I'm sure there's someone out there who has this idea that keeps them up at night. You have this vision, you have this idea that you know would be amazing, but you're just not pursuing it. And the question is why? Is it that you don't feel worthy of accomplishing the goal, of living out your dreams, fulfilling your purpose? Is it that you're letting the voice of self-doubt and fear be so loud and be louder than your voice of knowing that this would be amazing, this would be a success? I could potentially be a millionaire if I pursue fully and completely and with all my heart. Is it the external voice of other people? What is it that you're letting overcome you, overwhelm you, and stop you or hinder you from accomplishing your goals and doing what you have been called to do? I truly believe that we all have a calling and we all have a purpose. We all have a destiny to fulfill. I really do believe that. It's just a case of, do we believe it within ourselves and enough to know that I have been called to do this. I have been called to be a business owner. I have been called to be a philanthropist. And I know that if I do it, it will impact lives. It will change technology. What is it? Or maybe you're a parent now. You've got a lot more responsibilities, and I absolutely get it. But the thing is, time doesn't wait for no one. And that is a harsh truth I've had to come to terms with. I feel like every single year we say, oh my God, time flies. But then every single year we see that time waits for no one. And I've also had to come to the realization that I let time slip away from me. I let valuable time slip away from me. Oh, and as I'm talking, I just had a thought. We take for granted how much time we've been given. We take for granted how much time we have on this earth. And the reality is we don't know how much time we've been given. And I pray that, yes, we all live until we're 90 or even 100. We're old and grey and we're surrounded by family and we've got grandkids or whatever your goal may be. But the reality is, what if you've got 10 years left? What if it's 15 years, 20 years? If we were given and we knew the date that we will leave this earth, would we pursue our goals differently? Would we live differently? Would you live differently? Would you pursue your goals with so much fire, with so much energy, with so much focus? Would you be tunnel vision? And if your goal is to be a millionaire, or maybe you want to be the first in your family to earn £20 million a year, whatever their goal may be, would you pursue with the level of focus that is so clear, so attentive, so tunnel vision, that every single week, every single month, every single year, you just are going, you're ticking off your to-do list, you're ticking off your goals for your business or whatever that is. Maybe you start to date with intention because you know, I want to leave this earth and leave the legacy of children. And I know that legacy looks different for everybody. But if your goal was to have kids, okay, I'm going to start dating intentionally and stop messing around and just going on dates or situationships that are wasting your time. But it's something we have to come to terms with, that as I leave this earth, what do I leave behind? What will I be remembered for? Did I make impact? Did I touch lives? Because there are people on this earth that we still talk about today who passed on generations ago, decades ago, centuries ago, that are in the history books, whether for their inventions, whether for standing up to fight for human rights, whether it's the suffragettes that we still talk about today, whether it's Martin Luther King, whether it's Rosa Parks, people like Mark Zuckerberg. I'm sure that man will forever live in the history books for what they've done. And maybe your goal is not to be the next Mark Zuckerberg. Whatever your goal is, I feel like we all want to live something, right? Is there something else? Is there more? Do you want to do more? Something that I had to come to the realization of within myself is that I was now using my job or my 9 to 5 as an excuse to just coast. And that's something that we can also do, where you're just coasting. Before you know it, you're like, hold on. It's been 2 years and I've just been in this job and there's nothing really exciting that's really taken place. And I think for a lot of us, as I was saying about the depression thing, I genuinely feel like depression also comes as a result of us not fulfilling our purpose, where you know deep within yourself there is something I'm set to accomplish. There's a purpose I'm set to fulfill, but I'm not living in that purpose. And that's where the hurt comes from. That's where the depression is. Because you know that maybe the hurt, the pain and the sacrifice of living in your purpose is worth it. It's worth the joy. It's worth the excitement of accomplishment. It's worth the result of seeing your impact simply because of something that you've done, something that you've created, something that you've worked on, simply because of a business idea that you had the guts, you had the balls to do it. So that's just my question of the day. Have you neglected your goals? Have you neglected your dreams? And if you have, what's next? Because I feel like life is so much more exciting when we truly pursue what's in our hearts and when we're doing what we've set to do, what we've been called to do. What sets our hearts on fire? What just gives you the flutters or the butterflies in your stomach when you get nervous? And I want that for you. I really, truly believe that life is so much more exciting. It's so much more fulfilling when we are completing and fulfilling our purpose. I don't think we've just been created to just have a 9 to 5, go home, have dinner, and then repeat it the next day, and then the next day, and then the next day. Maybe go on vacation, come back home, do it again and again, just like a turning wheel that never ends of the same old, same boring stuff. I don't feel like life is supposed to be predictable. And as I'm speaking to you, I'm speaking to myself. I'm with you on this boat. One of the things I realized was that sometimes I don't even think it's that we're scared of failure, because that is true. There can be times where our fear of failure is holding us back, but we're also scared of what does success truly look like. And maybe we've not created a complete picture of what success looks like to us. And because we don't have the vision, we don't know what we're fully pursuing. I'll give you an example. Maybe you want to create a beauty brand, but you don't know what that brand aims to accomplish. You don't know at the core, what is it about the beauty brand? What do you want it to do? Or maybe just the goal is, I just want to make money and I know that beauty sells, so I'm just going to do beauty. And I think because sometimes we lack a true vision, we don't pursue with the energy, with the effort, with the time that we need to. We don't invest the time that we need to be able to accomplish that, simply because we don't have a full, complete picture or the full, complete vision. So maybe we go back to the drawing board. What's the vision? What's the purpose? What's the dream? What's the goal? And once we start coloring into the lines or coloring into that skeleton or the bones of that vision, it starts to come alive. And I think that's it. You never know what you're capable of until you do. We never know what we're capable of until we do, until we act, until we move forward. And we don't know how life will respond to us, how people around us will respond, and how people will gather together to support the vision and to push it forward until you act. I was listening to something the other day where someone was talking about how we sometimes want to move in silence, and that's great. But sometimes it's okay to be open about the vision, because you will never know how people will gather together to support you, because they're like, oh, I see what you're doing. They may not fully or completely understand it the way you do, because it's you that has the vision. But people are so accepting, people are so loving, people are ready to support, maybe even to put money behind your vision, or maybe put resources, give you the connects, give you the contact, give you the information that you need to bring it to fruition. So my challenge for you is flesh out the idea once again. Bring it back up from the dead, that idea, that vision, that goal that you had, the book that you thought about, the business that you wanted to create, the podcast that you were thinking of, the YouTube channel, whatever that is. I believe in you. As I spoke with one of my guests previously, we spoke about how his life experiences, how his experience in business, how all of it came together to be able to propel him into what he's doing now, into making him the perfect candidate essentially for this business he's now running. So maybe the question is now also just looking at yourself, looking at your life. What are the things that I have experienced in my life? What are the expertise? What are the talents that I have that come together in perfect harmony, that marry each other to make me the perfect candidate to give birth to this particular vision, to give birth to this particular goal? There's a quote that I want to read to you. So it said, "We are the best people positioned to serve the person we once were." So now back to the question of, who have you been made to be, and who are you meant to serve? Again, we don't live as islands. We live as collectives who have been equipped to support each other, but to serve each other in the best way. So again, I ask, what are the life experiences? What are the expertise? What is the knowledge you have that is unique to you? What are the talents that you've been given that make you the perfect candidate to give birth to that vision that you have? The vision can live again. It can revive. And I know like I said, I believe in you, and I know you can do it, whatever it is that you're working on. And I'm excited to hear of all the things that you will do. That is it. That's it for this episode. I hope you have been somewhat provoked, and I hope that the questions I have posed today have made you start thinking about what are the things that I need to bring back up. Thank you for listening. I would love to hear what are your thoughts on what we've discussed today. Leave it in the comment section. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the podcast. Leave a comment. Have a good afternoon. Have a good day. And I will catch you on the next episode of the Dreams, Money, Purpose podcast. Bye-bye.